afternoon, beautiful people.
Good afternoon.
It is an honor to be here. When Director Banks asked me if I would like to do the keynote, I was like, heck yeah! I was so excited. And I just really appreciate this opportunity. And before I get going, though, because this is an honor, I think it's also important for me to honor those who are here. So I do give honor to Director Banks and all of those who are in our center who do so much for our Black students every day. And I thank you, Ms. Cunningham, for that wonderful introduction. I would like to give honor to our college president who wasn't able to be here today, yet she took the time to send an email to me to say, sorry, I'm not going to make it. Wow, that made me feel so special, you know? And I would like to give honor to all of our trustees who are here and all of our other leaders, our deans and associate deans. And whether you're a leader because you have a position or you're a leader because you're here making a difference, I give honor to you. And I want to give honor to our ancestors who came before us and endured the struggle so that we could be here today. And then finally, and most importantly, I give honor to my God, who makes all things possible. So, I am excited to be here today to talk to you. Now, I don't expect that I'm going to tell you anything new, okay? I'm just hoping that I can help you to think about some old things, maybe in some new ways, okay? And maybe to remind you of some important things. And I'm talking to you about the topic of lying MFs. And I thought that this was an important topic because, now, I might be wrong, but I'm under the impression that probably most of us have had to deal with some lying MFs. We got a testimony over here. I couldn't even get the question out before Dean Lance was raising, yes. So, has anybody else in here ever had to deal with some lying MFs? Yes. Well, I know I have too. Now, here's the thing. Whenever I'm doing a presentation, I always like to start with definitions, okay? Because my definition of lying MF might not be quite the same as yours. Okay, so let me begin with some definitions, okay? So first we've got the lying part. That one's pretty basic, right? So we know that a liar is a person who tells lies, right? They are not concerned about the truth. They're just going to say whatever they want to say, all right, for their own purposes. Now, as Black people, we have had to deal with some lies. We have been lied to, and we have been lied about, right? Ever since we came to this country, and we didn't just come in 1619. We were here before that, okay? So, but they've tried to tell us who we were. People have tried to tell us what we were worth. And they've tried to tell us lies about where we are from, right? And they've said that our continent, the continent where all of humanity began, they call it a dark continent. And I'm like, are you serious? A dark continent where all knowledge began? You're calling that the dark continent? And then again, they try to tell us lies about, like I said, about who we are, right? And so it's like if you can get people to think a certain way about themselves, then you've got power over them, right? And so that's why it's very important for us to know who we are and to not believe the lies that we've been told. See, I am a Black woman. I am not a Mammy, a Jezebel. I am not a Sapphire. I am not a woman who is angry all the time. Okay? And my brothers, they are not beasts. They are not brutes. They are not bucks. Okay? We as a people, we are not inherently inferior, and we are not physically or athletically superior. When we achieve, it's because we work hard. We go above and beyond to overcome all the forces that have been put in place to hold us down. So those are just stereotypes. And stereotypes are nothing but lies, really. They're distortions of the truth, okay? So it's important for us to understand them and to recognize them. Now, going to the person that I wanted to mention a minute ago, that is somebody who can talk about how we've been lied to better than I can. Now, this quote, I love this quote, and you all love this quote. You heard it in '92 when Denzel Washington played the role of Malcolm X.
Oh, I say it again. You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does.
I just love that. I love that because it's so true, right? We've been all of those things. We've been all of those things. So we've had to deal with so many lies. Now, what else? That's the line. We got that. Well, what about that M? You're like, okay, now, where are you going with this M? Okay. Now, the M that I'm talking about stands for manipulating. Okay. So we use lies to manipulate, right? And what does it mean to manipulate? To control or influence a person or situation cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. Okay? So now, at the worst case scenario, we manipulate. And at the best case scenario, we can call it misguiding. Okay? So misguiding, maybe you don't even realize that the things that you're saying to me are lies. So maybe you're not trying necessarily to hold me back, but you're still misguided, and because you're misguided, you're misguiding me. Okay, now, so that's the M. So we got lying, manipulating, or misguiding, and then we got the F. That's the big one, right? That's the big one. But it's not what you think. Okay, the F stands for feelings. Okay, lying, manipulating, misguiding, feelings. Let me ask you this. How many of you know that feelings lie? Our feelings lie to us. You know our feelings lie to us? Now, the thing is, it's really tricky because they are manipulative because they make things that are not true seem as though they are, right? And that's what's so hard about it. So let me just give you some examples, right? So let's say that I say, I'm feeling lucky, okay? So because I'm feeling lucky, you know what I'm going to do? I've got $100 left. Now, I could feed my family, or I could go down to Pachanga, right? And I can double, triple, shoot. I can come home with 10 times as much because I'm feeling lucky. Oh, that's a bad move, y'all. That's a bad move. So when we let our feelings lead us, we can get ourselves into some bad situations. Or maybe I'm not feeling lucky. Maybe it is that I'm feeling jealous, right? So because I'm feeling jealous, then I'm going to let my jealousy lead me. So I'm going to say to my partner, oh, no, you can't go anywhere. I forbid you from going anywhere, doing anything without me in my presence. Right? I've got to be with you. Why? That person's being led and guided by their feelings, right? And then sometimes we can be, maybe we have a feeling of anger. And so we think, well, I'm angry. So it's okay that I talk to you the way that I talk to you. It's okay that I maybe attack you physically or verbally. That's okay. Because my feelings say that it's okay. Or maybe even worse. Maybe I'm feeling very, very sad. And so my feelings say, just end it all. Just end it all. So feelings are not the best thing to be led by. Can we agree to that? Yeah. Okay. Now, here is the most insidious feeling. The most insidious feeling that we can have is the feeling that says that we are worthless or that we are worth less, okay? So we got worthless, like you're just worth like nothing. Or maybe you are worth something, but you're worth less. As black people, we are told that we are worth less than the dominant group. People of color in general are told that they are worth less. And then within our group, we've got others. Well, you're black and gay. Oh, no, you really worth less. Right? You're black and disabled. Oh, now, oh, you're worth less too. Okay? So we've got all of these lies. Now, the problem with these lies is that they influence how we think. And then when they influence how we think, they influence what we do. Now, let's just talk about this for a few minutes. What influences how we feel? Okay, so things happening within us influence how we feel. So, what's going on within our psyche? All right, so our mind, our brain. So, what's going on with our brain can influence how we feel, and that feeling may not be connected at all to what's happening around us in our reality. Okay? So in other words, I might be feeling anxious, but yet there's no threat. I might be feeling depressed, and yet everything in my life is going really well. I might be feeling lonely, and I'm surrounded by people who love me. I might be feeling worthless, and there's so much evidence of the good that I do in the world. Now, what I'm talking about here are some mental health issues. Okay? These are some mental health issues. When there's something that's going on in our psyche that's disconnected from what's happening in our reality, then that is a sign of a mental health issue. But our feelings will lie to us and say, well, you better not get treatment because only crazy people go get treatment. So then we listen to that lying, manipulating feeling, and then we stay in the darkness. Now, we've also, another thing that influences how we feel is what is actually happening around us, okay? So what is happening within our particular historical, social, cultural context that can make us feel worthless or worth less? Well, all you have to do is turn on the radio, listen to the news. Somebody got shot. Somebody died. Somebody was mistreated. Somebody was discriminated against. It's everywhere. We can't get away from it. And these are all signs of oppression. Now, what is oppression? Oppression is being treated in a way that is cruel or unfair. The systematic subjugation of one social group by a more powerful social group for the social, economic, and political benefit of the more powerful social group. Okay, that's oppression. Now that's oppression that happens like out here onto us. Now the interesting, or maybe the scariest thing, is that there is a type of oppression that is the most damaging type of oppression. And that's the type of oppression that when it goes from out there to in here. Okay? And then I begin to believe the lies that have been said about me and my kind. Then that's what we call internalized oppression. Now, you don't have to take my word for it, because Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black History Month, talked about it. He talked about this internalized oppression. He talked about it in his book, The Miseducation of the Negro. So what I'm calling misguided, it stems from being miseducated, right? We aren't told the truth. We aren't in contact with what is real. And that's why I love this image that this artist did, where there's like a chain on the person's brain. Okay? So what he says, he has this wonderful quote that I love. And he says this: when you control a man's thinking, now he doesn't use gender inclusive language, but that's okay, he's a product of his time. When you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him to not stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. Okay, now, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's break this down a little bit. What Dr. Woodson is talking about, he is talking about a type of social structure that existed at this time in which he wrote this, okay? And the social structure is, when we talk about social structure, it's a hard word, you know, in sociology. My background is in sociology as well as psychology. That's why I, talk about the psyche. But social structure, we talk about the way that society is organized, okay? The way it's set up. And this setup is really almost immutable. It's very hard to change. So there's certain customs, there's certain rules, there's certain laws, there's certain ways that we do things. And the social structure that existed at this time, when Carter G. Woodson was writing this, was such that it was very blatant, because this was in the time of Jim Crow, right? So everything said to black people, you are less than, you are inferior, all right? So, again, the customs. Now, and the customs supported white supremacy culture, okay? So, the customs said white people are on top, black people are on bottom. And don't try to upset that order, because if you try to upset that order, you will be met with intense violence, okay? You will be hanging as strange fruit from a tree, okay, as Billie Holiday has said to us. So the way it was in the South, if you were a black person and you went to a white person's house, you couldn't just go to that person's house and knock on the front door, okay? You had to go around to the back. Now let's say that you were doing something as a favor for that white person, okay? Let's say that, let me make up a name here. Mr. White, don't know why that name came to me. His cow got loose, okay? And so there you are, and you see Mr. White's cow, and you're like, oh, Mr. White's cow got loose. I'm going to bring his cow back to his house. Now, you are doing him a favor. So you get his cow, you put a rope around the neck, you lead him back to the house. But when you get to Mr. White's house, you don't go knock on his front door and say, I've got your cow, right? That might be the last thing you do. So you walk around to the back. And then you knock on the door and you say, I've got the cow. I've got your cow. Okay, so that was the social structure. Now, what happened is, what Carter G. Woodson is saying here, he's saying is that when you raise people, when you educate them, when you socialize them from the time they are very young, all through their adulthood, that they are inferior, that they are less than, then they begin to believe it. And when they begin to believe it, you don't have to have somebody standing on every corner with a gun saying, make sure you go around the back door. They will internalize it. And they will know, I am less than. I am not worthy of the front door. I'm going to go around to the back. Now, he's saying that when he says, if they get to the back and there is no door, they will cut one for their special benefit. Now, that doesn't even make sense, right? Because if there's no back door, the logical thing is just turn around and go to the front. Right? But he's saying the indoctrination, the enculturation is so intense that you won't do that, even though that's the logical thing to do, because you don't believe that it's okay. You know that it's not okay. And so then what happens is that oppressed people begin to buy into their own oppression, right? And then they begin to do things. We begin to do things that further and foster that oppression. Now, it would be one thing if that these customs and laws and everything, if all these lies, if that was just in the past. But the problem is that this social structure, things have changed and things stay the same. Okay? There are many other line MFs. Now, the line MF I started with was the line misguided feeling. But again, that feeling, I said, is influenced by our social structure. So there are other line MFs that impact how we feel. And let's talk about let's talk about them. We got line MFs in our school system, okay? So we've got that line manipulating faculty member. Maybe some of you can remember a teacher or somebody who told you, you said, I want to be a whatever. And they said, oh, no, you're not smart enough for that. You want to be in the, no, you don't need to take the honors classes. You need to take the remedial classes. That's where you need to be. Okay, now don't, I'm just trying to help you out here. Okay, so that's a lying MF. Okay, now, then we've got lying MFs in our healthcare system. Okay, so we've got those lying, manipulating family physicians. Doctor, I'm feeling some pain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I know because it was in my medical books that black people, their skin is thicker. So y'all don't really feel pain the same way that we do. So because of this, I think that you don't need pain medication. You're probably just seeking drugs because I'm going to assume the worst about you, right? Which means I'm not going to treat you. So you're not going to get the care. And it's not just that. It's also when we talk about things that are happening to us, we're not taken seriously. So it's like, doctor, I'm pregnant and something's not feeling right. Oh, just go lie down. We lie down and then we don't get up, right? Because we know that the death rate for black women in pregnancy is significantly higher than it is for white women. And it should not be. But why is that? Because we've got some lying MFs in the healthcare system who don't listen to us and don't heed our needs. Now, we've got some lying MFs in the religious system, okay? So, we got some lying, manipulating faith leaders. Those faith leaders that are more concerned about your money than your soul, right? Those faith leaders who try to say who God loves and who God doesn't, right? Well, not you. Maybe you. Who are you to try to tell me who God loves? My understanding is that God loves everybody because we are all made in God's image. Now, maybe some people don't believe that, and that's okay. But many of the faiths believe that we are created in the image of the divine. Many faiths adhere to that. But if you have a faith leader that doesn't recognize your beauty and your divinity and your wonderfulness, then that faith leader is a lying MF. Now, we got some lying MFs in our political system. Yes? Now, somebody said no. No. Yeah, we do. Right? We got some lying, manipulating, foolish folks in leadership. Right? If you don't believe me, just ask people in Florida. I mean, we can't even learn about our history, right? We can't even learn about our history because there's something dangerous about teaching people the truth. And lying, manipulating, or lying MFs know it, right? And so they want to keep it from you. And then the last one I'll talk about, and we can go all day, okay? But these are in our systems. I'm talking about our systems, not just one-on-one. We got lying MFs in our legal system. Oh, yes, we do. So you see, I shot that unarmed child because you see, I felt my life was in danger, right? I felt threatened because our very existence is a threat. Just existing is a problem. So we've got lying, manipulating friends in law enforcement. Now I say that and put quotes in friends. I mean friends in quotes because, what you're told when you're a little white boy versus what you're told when you're a little black boy are different things, right? So Timmy, the police officer, is your friend. Now, Ted, you stay away from that cop. You avoid doing anything that's going to draw attention to yourself because I want you to come home tonight. All right? So it's a different story. That's called racial socialization. Racial socialization. Now, it would be one thing if all these systems were just the systems that were outside of us, but there's one other system. But where the problem is when it gets into our family system, right? And then we believe it. And then we got lying, manipulating family members, right? And so because we've internalized these negative things about ourselves, then we start to treat each other badly, okay? So, you know what? You're going to be just like your dad. He was no good. You're going to be no good, right? Get your nappy, black, whatever self out of my face. I wish you weren't even born. The things that we say, the negativity that we convey, because we have internalized it, so then we ourselves who were oppressed become oppressors, right? Within our own circle of influence. So it's almost like, goodness gracious, what are we going to do about this? Because this is depressing. Well, I'm going to tell you this. All of these lying MFs have been lying, okay? Every single one of us is a front door person. You're a front door person. You're a front door person. You're a front door person. We're all front door people. And anybody who tries to tell you differently, I don't care who they are. Mama, daddy, police officer, president, past. I don't care who they are. They are just lying MFs if they try to tell you that you are not a front door person. Believe it. Walk in it. Know it. Do like Dr. Mae Jameson said. Never be limited by other people's imagination. Never let others define who you are. Okay? Don't let anybody else limit you. I encourage you. Now, the thing that we're going to have to do if we're not going to do that is that we have to fight lies with truth. We don't want to fight the truth. We want to fight lies with the truth. The power of truth. What do we need to have the truth about? We need to do this. We need to discover the truth. If we're not taught it in school, because you live in Florida, get on the internet. If you live in California, take my class. So do what you have to do to discover the truth. Then when you discover it, believe it. Okay? You are beautifully and wonderfully made. Okay? Then walk in it. Because it doesn't do any good to believe it and then you don't walk in it. So walk in that truth. Walk in that light. Walk in your power. And be guided by the truth, not your feelings. Right? We've already seen, don't be guided by your feelings because your feelings are guided by all these other lying MFs. So it's lying MF on top of lying MF, and that's just going to get you in a bad place. So be guided by the truth. And then speak the truth. Now, who do we need to speak the truth to? We always talk about speak truth to power, and that's good. But I would encourage you first, speak truth to yourself. So again, if you need some mental health care, get it. If you need to take a break, take it. It's okay, right? It's okay. So speak truth to yourself about who you are, your strengths and your weaknesses, in a real lens, not a manipulated lens, right? And then we can speak truth to power, and we can speak truth to those lying MFs. And what will we say? We say, oh, I see you. You lying MF. I see you. Yeah. And I'm no longer going to let you manipulate me, control me, misguide me. Because I know who I am, and I know who you are. And who are you? Well, you ain't nothing but a lying MF.